Thank you for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And I am entrepreneur Breezy Gipson.
And we're glad that you're with us. We've got another great show lined up for you today. We're excited to say that we have Olivia Van Goor coming through, joining us a little bit later. Of course, we've got music industry news for you and, beats by yours truly sprinkled in throughout.
Yeah, Olivia is quite a person. I mean, I'm just so ecstatic about her being in the mix today.
Yes. So without any further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Hey, listeners out there, we've got a whole lot going on today, and I am just ecstatic because of our guest that's with us today is just a woman of many, many means. She's a trailblazer in her own right, and she's just a fantastic person all on top of that. And so we're going to let her tell her own story. We won't steal any of her thunder, and we present to you right now the one and only out of Detroit, Michigan, Olivia Van Goor. Miss
Good
Van Goor,
morning.
how you doing?
I'm doing so well.
Great. Well, hey, that makes the three of us. So as we get going, so share with our listeners a bit about just exactly who Olivia is and, where she's from and what she represents on Earth today.
Well, that's so hard to pinpoint. I feel like there's been so many stages, especially in this quarantine time of exploring, I've been trying to not limit myself as far as, saying, what I do and what style of music I'm all about, but it all centers around jazz music. And so I am a vocalist. I also play other instruments, but that's my main thing. And I focus on jazz music of today and all the standards. There's like such a rich history there, but it evolves, and that's the nature of the music. It's tradition, it's being in the present moment, and it's everything in between. And I also write my own music, and I'm working on currently finding that voice that is still being built and expanding every day. And I acknowledge that I still have so much time to figure that out. So I'm not in any rush. I know it's a process. But yeah, I'm based out of Detroit right now, so that's where I'm around.
Okay. And so, I mean, I was just struck so awesomely with your talents, the positivity that you're showing.
Thank you.
I mean, you're very tenacious at what you're doing in a great way, and it's really like a breath of fresh air actually coming across your path. And I said right then, wow, it would just be marvelous, to share your story with our listeners. Now, you did say just then you have some time that you're going to expand on some of these thoughts that you have on your mind, or plans that you have on your, but with all that you're doing, do you have any time?
That's a great question. I joke with my friends, my list is like, it's ever growing of things. And I think that like all creatives can agree, we always have like more projects to do. And specifically with musicians, like practicing is never ending. It's a practice. And so I know I struggle with taking on too many projects and homework assignments that I give myself, and ideas and time to set aside. But thankfully I'm able to kind of allot a lot of my time to that right now.
Okay. So I've already got my next question, but I've got to defer to Achickwitbeatz. So
yeah.
Well, yeah. First of all, I mean, you came in with such a powerful sentiment. A lot of times when people can be doing so many things, they don't really recognize that there's still always room for growth. And so, I think that's really, really cool that you have that perspective. What advice would you have to offer to somebody that, maybe feels like, oh, I've been doing this enough, I've pretty much got it all figured out, but to be able to continue to evolve and grow the way that you have and the way that you are doing, what advice would you have to offer someone that might be, kind of needing a little bit of advice in that area? Sure.
I think depending on, like your craft, there's a lot of versions of this, but I know I'm not the only one to say this, but everyone has, their inspiration, their kind of goal of different skills to learn and different I guess things to learn. I think jazz musicians have this unique kind of perspective too, because we have this goal of learning all of these songs, all of these standards, progressing with our improvisation, progressing always. And there's so many people to look up to that are masters of this craft. And I know other genres, other creatives have that same thing. So maybe, I know when I feel uninspired, when I've felt, especially in the pandemic, kind of this like just down in general, I will watch videos of the greats. And I mean, some people will watch that and feel like, oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna ever get there, just give up. But you have to surrender yourself to the craft, to the mastery. And by doing that, it's very humbling, it's very overwhelming. But if you have, I think, a healthy mindset, then it can be very inspiring and exciting.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, share with our listeners, what is one day in the life of Olivia Van Goor like?
Okay. I wake up and I kind of have a constant morning routine of a smoothie and coffee. And so that's what I do to get myself up. I spend some time cuddling with my dog, maybe a couple minutes. And that's the extent of my kind of non-music time, because I find the morning to be the most productive. And so I kind of have my desk in front of me, and I will either be drawn to a project, maybe what I tried to work on the night before, or if I know I have to respond to some emails, I'll throw on some music. But like the morning is really productive for me. I've been having a hard time, I think, since the night gets so dark fast, staying productive. But sometimes those like wee hours of the night, you can get that burst of energy. But lately, morning is where it's at. And then I'm currently teaching some private students as, some supplemental income. And so that's like in the afternoon after school gets out. And so around 3 o'clock, then I'll be done with my stuff for the extent of the day. And hopefully I'll have some energy after teaching, depending on if it's a long day or not. And if I do, and if there's a jam session, then I'll get my butt over at a jam session or at a gig. If it's a working night. Lately it's been kind of spotty, things being canceled. But yeah, then the nighttime is kind of either time to socialize, time to go and see someone that I'm trying to learn from, just having fun maybe, or going to a jam session and putting some of those ideas to fruition and trying some stuff out.
Okay. So now let's break it down. Let's break it way down for our listeners. So share with us exactly how many instruments that you are involved with, that you touch on a daily or weekly basis, or that are in your brain as far as what sounds best here or what sounds better there, or just tell us a little bit about that.
So I love thinking about, music is music, and we use instruments to apply it. And so there's obviously like a couple instruments that are given because it's the easiest to understand and apply it. So I will definitely be touching the piano every day. That was my first instrument, but it translates immediately to singing. I've been working on understanding harmony a lot more and practicing that way. And then, any transcription that I'm doing, I'm in front of the piano. I also play guitar, and so depending on my mood, I'll maybe apply some of what I'm learning to guitar, test it out, see if I like certain sounds. Sometimes if I get stuck on the piano, I'll go to the guitar, but I'm not as skilled at navigating the guitar. And then all the other instruments that I work with, I do not play, but I love to work with, like the upright bass or like people who have more of a talent with the piano and guitar. I definitely have been prioritizing my voice, even though I can play other instruments. I love collaborating above all else, and so I'd rather collaborate with other musicians than try to go completely solo.
Achickwitbeatz, that really comes across strong in her voice, the way she's delivering that message, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned how collaboration is important. What are some of the things that you look for? Because like I mentioned, we've got listeners all over the place, but if somebody listening, like what would you be looking for in order to collaborate with someone? Because who knows, they might be here right now.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna draw on my current collaborators and what has worked so well for them, and I have a couple of musicians that I love to work with and to hire, and those are because they bring the perfect balance of their voice and also supporting my voice to the table. And not only do I need there to be everything like skill-wise and understanding the music, right? Being proficient in jazz music, knowing my songs, et cetera, but we be willing to try my ideas and let me lead, but also support, because I love when musicians that I work with say, well, actually, let's try like this. And I love that. I love that that collaboration moment where it's not all about my ideas. I try to bring to the table what I can, but yeah. And then to get more specific, I guess a love for jazz music, a love for improv, for standards, for the tradition, and trying stuff new and honoring the past.
Man, that's awesome.
It is. Oh my gosh. You've got us in a happy place this at this point right here.
Good.
Yeah, happy place. Now, as I was fortunate, let's take just a hot second. We're going to do it at the end of the interview again, but share with our listeners right now, in case there's somebody that wants to follow you on your social media. Where would they go to do that? How would they do that?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm most active on Instagram. You can find me with the handle Olivia Van Goor Music. That's OliviaVanGoor Music. So MUSIC. And then by just searching my name, you can find my website, oliviavangoor.com. That shows all my shows. I'm slowly but surely expanding to other states. So I play in Michigan a lot, but I'm starting to book in Ohio for the spring. And then you can find all my music on all streaming platforms under just my name. So it's pretty easy. I don't work under a lot of names, and so it's just my name. Okay. Now, I was fortunate enough to come across your path on Instagram, and I was amazed. I was just happy. I was upbeat. I was just shocked. I was just in a great place. You had me just, oh my gosh. I'm like, you're fantastic. You're amazing. Thank you.
And there's one little thing that I could say is icing on the cake, that when I came across a sample of you doing this, I was like, oh no, I got to reach out. We got
what was it?
Okay, there was a segment, one of your posts where you actually were doing some vocal jazz scat.
Yep.
And once I heard, that was it. That was the icing on the cake. And so for you all out there listening to this, please, go to her page on website, or especially Instagram page, and track that down, because that was some fabulous, was and is some just fabulous presentations of vocal capability. It just
Thank
really
you.
is. I was mesmerized. Okay, so now what's on the docket coming up for Olivia Van Goor?
Well, kind of always practicing, always pushing, but as far as like the next year, my big goals, besides the stuff that I'm always doing, is to push my newest release. So in November, I released my first EP, self-produced, but worked with some amazing sound engineers and mixing and mastering. But all the music and arrangements was done by myself, and there was a couple elements of originality to it too, but mostly just jazz standards, and also like covers of stuff in a jazz tradition. And so I'll be trying to push that CD throughout the year of 2022, and seeing where that takes me. It was kind of a first big risk to take. It's worked out so well so far, but we'll see. I don't know where it's going to take me from there.
Wow.
I'm just amazed. I'm happy for our listeners being able to hear you and share with you today.
Absolutely.
This is, yeah, it's just one of those happy times and upbeat moments. And one thing that stands out is just your determination and your drive. I'm hearing
Thank
that
you.
through your voice, and you're very ambitious. I'm not giving this up. Okay, or this is what I want to do. Okay, and so that's going to inspire a lot of our listeners, and even those who are in all parts of the world, globe, as Achickwitbeatz mentioned. Your desire and your drive is just on full blast, and at this time of day, it's coming through real strong. Achickwitbeatz, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, it's just been very refreshing, talking to you about your experiences and your thoughts. And I know that this is very helpful to somebody out there listening because, as you mentioned, with the pandemic going on and things being canceled, everybody's kind of going through their own different things. So sometimes people, push themselves into it a little bit further, or, they might get kind of frustrated, but you've offered so much inspiration today. And yeah, I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely am not a stranger to, feelings of being discouraged. I want to make that clear. But at the same time, I think I've done a good job at trying, and I am definitely inspired by my teachers and my mentors that I look up to, but trying to put into practice, centering myself, why am I doing this? If I didn't have any gigs, if I didn't make any money, what am I doing this for? And then on a separate note, how can I make this into a career, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I still have my music, I still have what makes me happy. I've found a community that won't go away, even if, we all have to get jobs that aren't music related, even if the world completely flips, even no matter what happens, which is a really good feeling, which, no one can take away from you.
That's incredible.
It truly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, as we get to this part and point, the clock on the wall is facing us right now, staring at us, saying, "Hey, we got to wind this thing down." If I might say, if you could take 20 seconds, and I know that's not long, but just if there was one person way back in your life that inspired you to be who you are right now, whether it be in life or with just music, who would that be?
Okay. Can I have 1 second to think?
Okay,
For sure. That's a tough question. Yeah.
That is a tough question because I feel like so many people come to mind. And it's hard to pick. But I guess the first person that I can think of is my teacher and my mentor who I look up to. I have lessons with every week. He's an amazing pianist in Detroit. His name's Scott Gwinnell. And it's a big milestone for me was when I moved to this area and when I was trying to find my, I didn't even realize it, but I was on a journey to find my purpose in this music and discover the music. He guided me and also gave me the tools and the confidence that I needed to be where I am today. And I thank him so much. And I'm still learning, and it's been a really cool journey. But that's the biggest milestone moment for me, was meeting him.
That's amazing. Well, this journey right here, we're going to ask you that at some point in time in the future, we're going to roll the red carpet out and ask you to come back. And
I would love to. This has been so fun. I love your guys' energy, and it's been wonderful. That's great questions too.
Well, thank you, And so, but we, in other words, let me phrase it a different way. We've got to have you back. How about that? Okay, so, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, the illustrious Olivia Van Goor has been with us today. She's been sharing and rejoicing and educating us in many different ways. So, we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, which we know is busy.
Oh, thank you guys. No, this has been so fun.
Yes. And so as a gentleman should, let me bow out and turn it over to Achickwitbeatz so she can shut us down and close us out.
All right. Yeah, just as he was saying, we really thank you for everything that you came on to share. And before we get ready to head out, if you could just drop all the information again for somebody that may have missed it, where they can check you out, find you, and keep up with everything you've got going on.
Yeah. So my biggest social media that I'll use is my Instagram. It's at Olivia Van Goor Music. And everything else you can find by just searching my name. You can find my music and my EP on all streaming platforms. You can find the CD on Bandcamp. You can find me on the website that I made. It's oliviavangoor.com. And you can find where I am playing, and any upcoming shows or information that you want to grab is also on that website.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you do have permission to use that story I said when I said I was scanning through your social media and I was amazed with this, that, and the other.
I will.
But when I heard you scan, I was like, oh no, we've got to reach out.
That makes me so happy.
Well, look, you take care and be safe, and we're going to look forward to hearing back from you in the near future. And so you do your thing and continue to blaze your trail across this globe, okay?
Thank you so much. I can't wait to be back.
Okay.
Hey, can't wait to have you back.
Yes, Olivia Van Goor.
All right. It was so pleasant to speak with her and have her on. I just love all the positivity that she shared, just good vibes all around.
I mean, a singer, a guitarist, a pianist, and just specializing in the scatting and specializing in overall positivity. So yeah, once she walked into the place today, the whole place just lit up with her positivity. So hats off to her. She's one of those. She's one of those good ones, great ones.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be right back with music industry news right after this.
Okay.
we're back with music industry news. Lots of things happening. First off, China bans most of the exclusive copyright deals for digital music platforms. Now, this is a big deal because we've seen some of this going on. We've actually talked about it on the show before. But, last year, Tencent Holdings had to end their exclusive music copyright deals because they were controlling more than 80% of exclusive music library resources. So other platforms actually had to license music from them. So, China's been cracking down on that. Now they've said, okay, no more of this. So the digital music platforms can't sign exclusive copyright agreements except in special circumstances. But, it's the best way to be able to try to prevent monopolistic behavior in the private sector there. So, yeah, big deal.
Yeah, really, really big deal. I mean, they spotted what was going on and they took a look at it and, hey, just about every endeavor there is on Earth, there's always going to be a twink going in a certain direction. So, hey, stuff happens.
Yes. All right. And Symphonic Distribution has raised $37 million. And so that means that they've generated $12 million in net revenue in 2021. So now they're planning to use the money to invest more in their clients, their tech platforms, strategy initiatives, intellectual property, and even more acquisitions. So, it seems like every week we've been coming to you with more mergers and acquisitions. It's kind of the name of the game lately, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, every week. I mean, that's a given. That's gonna happen every time. So,
yeah. And speaking of which, Warner has acquired Africa-based music distributor Africori. And so now, okay, Warner Music Group and their publishing division, Warner Chappell Music, had invested and inked a deal back in 2020, so that way Warner could have access to their clientele and what they're calling Africa's largest catalog and A&R network. So now they went ahead and bought them instead of just investing and inking a deal. But they do plan to let Africori operate separately as an independent company and keep its current CEO. But as of right now, Africori services 7,000 artists and 850 clients, and they have strong revenues across all the major digital service providers. So this is a big deal, big move. Hopefully they will stick with their original decision to allow them to continue to operate as is, because obviously they're doing very well. So just something to be aware of there.
Yeah. Pluses and minuses on that. Pluses in one direction, minuses is there's, no matter what walk of life you're in, there always seems to be somebody out there or some group that wants to take control of everything. So you gotta walk with wisdom these days.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open as to what's going on, because the control freaks, they're out there. So just walk in wisdom.
Very wise words. And more acquisitions. Believe Music has acquired a 51% stake in French indie label Joe & Co. So this comes just after 2 months when they acquired 25% in another French indie label called Play 2. So it's the fourth independent company that Believe has bought a stake in just in the last 2 months. So yeah, again, what you said comes into play there. But there's obviously some interesting things happening with these French indie music labels. So definitely something to keep an eye on. If Believe is willing to keep shelling out this money to try to make sure that they get a stake in what they're doing.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, and to our friends over across the pond, UK music sales are up 8.7%, and vinyl has actually outpaced streaming growth. So, I mean, we've been seeing the sales just keep going up for vinyl, up, but now, it's growing actually faster than streaming. So, vinyl sales rose to 184 million in 2021. So that's up 23% just from 2020. And so streaming revenues had only rose 10.9%. So yeah, we're seeing a little flip-flop happening there, at least in the UK. So yeah, I'm excited to see how those numbers keep trending.
Nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me. Wow. It's almost like a fashion trend, though.
Yeah.
Because it depends on the season. I mean, the season is dictating who's wanting to acquire more with this, that, the other. But, you know, we sit back, we watch.
Yes, absolutely. And especially with, you know, a lot of the issues being able to get vinyl pressed up. Of course, that's going to have somewhat of an impact on the next set of figures that we see, but the demand is definitely there. So that's pretty cool. Vinyl just kind of gives you a way to interact with your music, kind of, you know, not to like date us or anything, but you know, it was something about holding that album in your hands and checking out the liner notes as you're listening to it that just kind of gives you a more I don't know, connected feeling to the music. So it seems that that's kind of what people have been craving lately. And yeah, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Crate diggers.
Yeah. All right, John Legend. This headline has been making the rounds, but he sold his songwriting catalog for an undisclosed fee to BMG and KKR. So KKR and BMG both purchased a 50% stake in his songwriting catalog for songs written from 2004 all the way through 2021. So according, even though, you know, it just started making headlines, but according to a regulatory filing, this deal actually happened in September of last year. We're just now finding out about it as, you know, the public. So yeah, interesting thing there. And it's also unusual because we've been seeing a lot of these purchases.
So, you know, nothing surprises me. I mean, that's getting to be my standard, my default response. Nothing surprises me. Okay.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. All right. And at least $5 billion was spent on music rights acquisitions in 2021. So we're looking at maybe it could even be bigger this year. We'll see what's going on. But, you know, if it's not every week, it seems like it's about every other week that we talk about somebody's catalog getting purchased, whether it's, you know, in total, the whole thing, or just percentages of it. And so, yeah, apparently that amounted to a lot last year. And so of the 5.05 billion, approximately 2.3 billion was spent on acquisitions of rights directly from the artists themselves, from songwriters or their estates. So yeah, I mean, it's something to be mindful of and to pay attention that so many people are willing to invest in it. It lets you know that there's money in this music. And honestly, if you're looking at the trends, if you've been listening, been following, most of the time when we share these are what they're calling like legacy artists. So John Legend is actually probably the one with the, I guess, smallest catalog that has actually been purchased lately. So, but if you look at some of the classics and stuff that he has, it definitely makes sense why they would do it. But yeah, a lot of people are reaching for this evergreen stuff, like we talked about before, the stuff that stands the test of time. There's nothing wrong with being trendy, but that's not what's getting snatched up now. So yeah, and speaking of which, over 73% of the US music market is claimed by catalog records rather than new releases. So catalog records are if they've been released more than 18 months before a consumer made a purchase and or press play. And current records are released within the last 18 months of the moment a consumer made a purchase and or press play. So that's what we've been seeing. And so with them holding that much of the market, so yeah, you might want to listen to the fun, trendy song when you're about to go to a party or hang out with friends, but that's not what people are pressing play on. That's not what people are actually buying. And yeah, just something to keep in mind for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And speaking of buying and selling Access Industries, which is the majority owner of Warner Music Group, sold $350 million in Warner Music stock to Morgan Stanley. So combined with the latest $8.56 million share, now Morgan Stanley has acquired almost $500 million in Warner Music Group stock. So yeah, it's just something to pay attention to. So now, Morgan Stanley, they're an underwriter, and so they're going to be putting this through their clients' portfolios, and so more people will actually be invested in music. So yeah, pay attention to where the money's going, because that lets you know the promise that they see coming forward. So yeah, just a heads up there.
Well, on the B side though, it makes you wonder, okay, well, where is the young man on the street headed? Where's the young woman on the street headed? That, the conglomerates are grabbing up all of the more well-known stuff. So does the little man on the street, little woman on the street, do they have, is their opportunity shrinking to stick their toe into the mix? Or because obviously some people know some things that other people don't know for all of these deals to be made, but that young aspiring musician that's out there, where do they stand in this mix?
That's a really good question. The best bet would be to do some research on some of these funds that are actually snatching these up, and invest yourself if possible. So, if you got a little bit of change, because once these companies go public, that means anybody can get a piece of it. So it actually kind of levels the playing field a little bit more, almost the same way, your SoundClouds and everything did for the independent artists. So now we actually have a chance to get a chunk of that change by investing. So yeah, when I say as far as the research, figure out who has what you're interested in, whether it be Warner, Sony, or whoever. Yeah, do your research and go ahead and grab some of that change for yourself. Because if Morgan Stanley's underwriting it, some of these other funds, Hypnosis, all these others have it available for people like us to be able to capitalize on it as well.
Gotcha.
All right, we're going to take another quick pause for the cause, and we'll be back with even more music industry news right after this.
Okay.
round two of music industry news. So India had their first metaverse concert, and apparently people are very excited about what that means for the future of virtual music events. Now, when I actually shared this on social media, it got some mixed responses. Some people are not excited about it at all, but it does offer an alternative in the event that more people quarantine as Omicron goes around and all that. So, in the metaverse, artists can perform from anywhere in the world, and people can attend their concerts from the comfort of their own homes or wherever they want to. Wearing the VR headset, you get to interact with others in the concert's virtual space or even chat just as you would if you were in person. So granted, this is never a substitute for, that feeling that you get live in concert, but for an alternative in a time that we may actually need it, it does show a lot of promise.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, statistics that I've been acquiring show that, the pandemic whole picture is actually sliding into becoming an endemic, which means that it's long term. It's not just going to come and disappear. That stuff is around with us for quite a ride. So, when they come up with the other alternative ways and means for people to experience concerts and so forth, that very well may be an endeavor that the companies turn out to be successful in, as well as people on the main line being able to acquire the opportunity to participate in these. Because again, I don't think that the current status of the pandemic is going to remain pandemic. I think it's shifting to endemic, which means some years, unfortunately.
Yeah. A lot of people are feeling it too. Broadway, their box office dropped 31% during the first week of the new year because of this. So out of the 27 productions, almost 40% of available seats went unfilled. So, yeah, I mean, granted, you look at the headlines, you see, okay, they're still bringing in, millions of dollars, which is true, but, they're missing a lot because of this. And just like you said, this may be something that, we just kind of have to adapt to. Some people will feel more comfortable with it than others. And, especially if there's something like that going around, there might be times where people need to quarantine more often. So at least there are alternatives. So, yeah. And, speaking of which, Amaze VR, they just got another $15 million to invest in the future of immersive concerts. So they're planning on using that for more talent. And, they started the year with 12 employees, but has tripled its team in Hollywood and Seoul to 41 employees already. So we're not even, or I'm sorry, they started 2021 with that. So yeah, we're barely into 2022 and they've got all this money to be able to just keep growing. So, the more talent that they have on the staff, the more opportunities that arise for us to be able to experience concerts in a different way.
Okay. Well spoken, well received there.
All right. And Nas has sold, okay, this is so cool. He's selling the rights to 2 of his recent tracks through Royal, which is the crypto music startup he invested in last year. So his song Ultra Black from King's Disease and Rare from King's Disease 2 will now be available as limited digital assets. So they're calling those LDAs, which the company calls an extended version of an NFT. So Nas's LDAs will be available in gold, platinum, and diamond tiers, each with different ownership percentages in the songs, as well as an additional utility that they're not really sharing what that is. But I don't know, I get the feeling it will be something kind of cool. But yeah, to be offering people a chance to invest in his music through a platform that he invested in. So, I mean, that's some bold business moves there. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I'll say salute to Nas and as well as a number of other artists who now are assigning their children as prominent roles in music production of their creations, meaning that as time goes, that their children will be receiving income based off on their own, on the parents' in success. Okay, so you could kind of compare that to in the older days where parents sometimes would purchase real estate for a child for their 18th birthday or something like that, 16th birthday. Well, a lot of artists are now naming their children co-producers and such on some of their music productions, guaranteeing or ensuring that there'll be some generational wealth created in that, outside of giving those funds to somebody else, keep it in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, different things happen. So just, dial into your own realm as well as the big conglomerates and, keep it moving.
Yes. All right. Mathematics has announced a NFT collection and a new LP featuring Wu-Tang. So, just in case you're not aware, Mathematics DJ'd for Wu-Tang. He was the one that created the infamous Wu logo. And so, now he's got his own art collection, and he's also releasing a short film. And so, kudos to him. The No Pork on My Fork NFT collection will consist of more than 11,101 unique pieces with 200 character traits and 6 different breakouts. So this is just the beginning for him. And, it's really cool that his art can start to be, more recognized the way that it should be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And NFT Tigers is launching a collection that's going to include a media brand, a streetwear brand, comic books, beverage brand, and even a record label. So NF Tigers will team up with rappers, music producers, and DJs to drop the first music track, and the collaboration will feature a rapper or a musician that's actually selected by their NFT community. So if that's something that you're interested in, you might want to hit the ground on that, check them out to make sure that you're aware of drops as they're released.
Hey. Wow. I mean, hey, this thing we're on a fast moving train. Okay. We're not just going for a walk in the park these days in the music industry. So, stay in tune to what's happening, and these news stories that Achickwitbeatz brings every week can actually educate you in many, many different ways. So pay attention.
Yes. All right. We're going to take another quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back to close out the night.
Okay.
And that's a wrap for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We're glad that you joined us today. And we just want you to keep rocking with us, keep tuning in, because we really, really appreciate you.
Well, be sure to check out Achickwitbeatz.com, because there's a plethora of information there that can be acquired by the musician of today, and as well as the musician from yesteryear or the musician of the future. And so partake of some of the great information, and there's some opportunities on there to enhance your own music by visiting Achickwitbeatz.com. Sorry about that. And just make sure you do that, okay? Whether you're the guy or ladies over here, over there, or somewhere else, Achickwitbeatz can be accessed anywhere, from anywhere on the globe.
Thank you so much. So, all right, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.